I'm about to show you how one of the world's greatest photographers could beat any personality test out there with a single photo, and it's super easy to do. Now I'm going to explain all the history in just a second, so bear with me. All you need are these 3 steps. Step 1, grab a camera. Your phone is fine. Step 2, have you or someone next to you stand in front of the camera and jump. Step 3, snap the photo of them mid-air. Okay. So did you get your photo? Great. Now this is what your photo means.
What do you mean only one photo?
Well, before we do this, I'm going to explain the history, okay? Boom. It's 1915. You are one of the most famous, powerful, and good-looking people in the world. In the middle of your photo shoot, your photographer, Philippe Halsman, a Latvian-American photographer, asks you to jump. Jump. Nervously, you wonder how you'll look. Are you presentable? Do you take your heels off? How high do you jump? And why in the first place are you even doing this? And yet, you go for it. And that's exactly how he did it. With nearly every person that he photographed for Time magazine and some of the biggest magazines in the world for over a decade, he asked all of them to jump. And he actually put it all into a book. It's called Jump. Aptly named. But why? What was this fixation on jumping? To answer this question, he calls it Jumpology. By their jump, ye shall know them. As Billy Joel once said, we all have a face that we hide away forever. We take them out and show ourselves when everyone has gone. The photographer's job is to remove this mask. And Halsman was convinced that no method does this better than a jump. Okay, here's a clip of Mr. Halsman explaining just this.
Because we all wear masks. But if you ask a grown-up person to jump, it is such an unusual request that the mask falls, and the jump usually reveals the character of the person.
According to his book, in a jump, a subject in a sudden burst of energy overcomes gravity. He cannot simultaneously control his expressions, his facial and limb muscles. The mask falls. The real self becomes visible. I love that quote. So what if they refuse to jump? Refusing to jump reveals a hidden, deep-seated insecurity. So when you're doing your photo and someone refuses, there you go. Well, now you know at least that they're insecure. Even if they do jump, that doesn't always mean you're going to get this insight into their personal character that most photos of someone jumping offer. Why is that? Well, think of a career politician like Richard Nixon.
This jump by President Nixon doesn't reveal too much. It is a kind of a non-committal jump.
But in a way that still reveals his personal character. He's somebody that's covering up. I mean, most politicians do that, right? Jumpology is flawless. Get over it.
One of your most famous jump pictures must be the one of Marilyn Monroe.
Yes, it is being used as a cover.
Here's Halsman's most famous photograph. Pay attention to how carefully Halsman deconstructs every detail of this photograph. That's going to play a key role when you deconstruct yours. Paying attention to the details.
She projects ecstasy, but the hands, cramped hands, indicate how tense she is.
And the feet tucked up under her hair.
It's the childishness in her.
This photo was so candid that when Halsman asked Monroe to jump again, she couldn't. She just froze there. Now, I find this really interesting because Lena, who you'll see her photograph soon, did almost the exact same pose as Marilyn Monroe, and she also refused to jump again. Now, it's finally time that we're gonna break down this photo according to the rules of Jumpology found in this book. And before we go on, if you don't mind just liking the video and subscribing to the channel, I'd really appreciate it. So, your hands are reaching up. You're supporting something or someone in your life. I feel like I'm reading your fortune here. Now, apparently most jumpers with their arms up are industry leaders or people with a lot of responsibility. Your hands are clenched. Not like a lot, but enough means you're tense. When your legs are up like that, it's like your inner child has still not been released. The idea is with Marilyn Monroe, she never resolved her childhood. How do you feel?
I feel like it's accurate as much as it could be. I support my little brother.
Yeah.
I wish he heard that.
Is there anything that just did not sound right?
No. Everything has some type of meaning in its respect.
That was so interesting. So Lena really felt that the results were accurate. It felt almost like a horoscope or some kind of fortune telling, but then you look at it, it's really not. It's based off of body language and it's based off of the subconscious. Obviously the way to interpret it is up for interpretation, but the concept is still there and there's still a lot of meaning behind all of it. Mona Lisa's smile is so iconic, not because it's the most beautiful, but because it's the most captivating psychologically. Leonardo DiCaprio, what? Leonardo da Vinci shattered barriers by approaching painting portraits through a psychological perspective. He gave us a face to study not only for its aesthetic value, or religious context or historical significance of the person in the painting, but for the psychological insight into the mind of a human being. Halsman did the same thing with his witty catalog of jumping celebrities. These photos, especially the one of Marilyn Monroe, I firmly believe will be studied for centuries to come, just like we studied the Mona Lisa smile. How did your photo come out? I would love to hear about it. Please leave a comment below and post if your personality test was accurate or not. And also just tag Zalis if you post the photo.